I'm back with another special guest. We are so fortunate to have Miss Andolyn Medina here with us today, our Miss Virginia's Outstanding Teen 2012. She's going to be sharing with us all about what she's been up to these past couple of years since being a part of the Miss Virginia's Outstanding Teen program. Andi has been a huge mentor and role model to me these past couple of years, and I'm so fortunate to have her friendship and her guidance. I've come to her for a lot of advice, and she's just such a wise and incredible soul, incredible person to have in your life, but was also in just a wonderful representative of the Miss Virginia organization. So very fortunate to be able to chat with her today, hear all that she's been up to. She's doing some really, really important and timely work right now. So I'm excited to chat about it. So Andi, if you want to tell us a little bit about kind of what you've been up to these past couple of years since you've graduated, you've competed again, and you've been really busy. So tell us all about it.
Yeah, it's wild. I was sort of thinking about that recently and reflecting, and 2012 doesn't seem like that long ago, but then you realize, like, wow, it really aged. So pageant-wise, I competed in Miss Virginia for 3 years, and was fortunate enough to place top 10. And then I competed in Miss DC last year and was first runner-up, which was super exciting. And that allowed me the opportunity to represent the District of Columbia in the Sweetheart pageant at a national level, And I was gracious enough to place third runner-up, which was a super amazing experience. And then career-wise, my year as Miss Virginia's Outstanding Teen was actually the first year that they offered the full tuition scholarship to Hollins University. And so I was the first to be able to utilize that scholarship, and I'm so thankful to the organization for providing that. So at Hollins, I was on the 3-year accelerated track, so I graduated early, cum laude. I was a major in psych and a minor in music, and then I was also involved in so many organizations while there, which is truly the Hollins girl way. I was in the Black Student Alliance Early Transition Program, Diversity Monologue Troupe, Student Government Association. I was the president of the Sandusky Service House, and then I also went on the Jamaica Cultural Emergence program. And then from there, I moved to the Northern Virginia, DC area to begin my master's in forensic psychology at George Washington University, and was fortunate enough to graduate from there in 2017. I interned at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which actually led me to change my platform. So previously, when I was Miss Virginia's Outstanding Teen, my platform was peer empowerment and community engagement. And then through my work at the National Center, I really became passionate about human trafficking and wanted to make that change. And so that's now my platform. And then I worked a little bit at the National Center for Victims of Crime as a victim assistance specialist before starting my doctoral program at George Washington in 2018. So I've really been booking it through school. I'm now in my 3rd year of the program. I've started seeing patients and also providing assessments. I'm in my 3rd year of the program, but my 2nd year of clinical work. And then recently within the program in 2019, I believe, I was accepted into the Navy's HPSP program. So I was commissioned as a naval officer at the rank of an ensign. And in doing so, the Navy will be paying for the rest of my tuition, which we're super grateful for because super expensive to go to college. And they also provide me with a stipend. And then upon graduating with my doctorate, I'll be promoted to the rank of lieutenant and will have to serve in the Navy for 4 years as a naval psychologist. And so I'm super thankful for the program. The exciting thing about it is that 1 in 5 students in the nation are chosen each year. So it's an absolutely incredible honor, and it's really paving my journey. And then otherwise, I have a dog that people that follow me know about him. He's quite a character. His name is Knowles, after Beyonce. He's a little over 2 years old, and he certainly keeps me busy in his own way. And then I just love to travel, love to give back, love to still be involved in the community. And I'm currently residing in DC, and I love it here.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, you just blow me away with your accomplishments and your ability just to juggle a million things. I think all of the things that you're involved with and have been involved with over the years are just so impressive and so meaningful in a lot of ways. You know, you have really just made the most of your time here on earth, and I think that that's just an amazing thing. But so like I said, the work you're doing is very timely, and I think that both with the COVID-19 pandemic and with the Black Lives Matter movement, I think that there are a lot of kind of issues that have been issues but are being brought more to the forefront, as far as mental health, and just the well-being of marginalized communities and of communities of color. I think it was one of the national news networks last night had an article, and ran a story all about the lack of diversity in mental health professional field, and I think especially you being in a more specialized field of it, serving the Navy, I think that I'm really interested to hear your perspective, on kind of how all of this you feel this is playing out and how you feel people can support it, because now that it is being brought to people's attention, people are recognizing this as an issue that has gone unserved for a long time now, and it's time that the conversation starts to shift, that I think the stigma starts to be erased, and you are playing an active role in that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I know it's kind of a multi-part question there, but still I'm curious, so anything you'd like to share.
Well, yeah, thank you for the question. I think that it's so important. And I've been so proud of you as well, being Miss Virginia's outstanding teen, to use your platform to speak about these issues. And so I think it's important to be prepared, no matter what, for these kind of questions. And one of the things that I sort of have been doing within my capacity is just speaking to the history of these concerns. So, with mental health, we have the Tuskegee trials within the medical field. More folks have been speaking up about the history between Black women and gynecologists, and we see the way that these things are happening now within Black folks and people of color being more disproportionately affected with COVID-19. And then within the mental health arena, we see where Black and brown bodies are constantly misdiagnosed or overdiagnosed, or we see how that leads to police brutality or the prison reform system. So we can see the different ways that these sort of systemic issues take place in our society. And so the first thing I would say is just to sort of speak to that, to normalize the history, to understand the history. A lot of this stuff, what I've been learning within my own work, even as a Black woman, a lot of these things weren't taught to me in the history classes that I took in Virginia public schools. And so it's doing more, having more conversations and speaking up and speaking out about our experiences. And then I think within my own field, this is why I'm really passionate about getting involved with the Navy. My parents were both retired naval officers. So my mom did 20 years and my dad did 24. And one of the things that I notice is that we often talk about the physical toll that it takes to serve, but we don't talk about the mental toll. We don't talk about the things that they are dealing with, the things that their families are dealing with. And so I'm really passionate to make that my avenue within military psychology, but then I also want to open my own private practice someday. And so right now with my, I know, very ambitious, but I do want to open my own private practice someday. And one of the things right now that I love about the work that I'm doing is right now as a student clinician, as a therapist, we are providing telehealth services during COVID-19 to all of our patients. And I've loved the way that we've adapted, but also GW Center Clinic is one of the only community clinics in Washington, D.C. that provides therapy services on a sliding scale. And so I think there has to be a way that more therapists, more firms make themselves more available and more accessible. And one of the ways to do that is not only with the sliding scale, but also ensuring that you are in the communities that you're hoping to impact. So even though DC is really small, it's hard to ask folks from Anacostia per se to find a way to get to Northwest or Northeast. So we have to bring our services to them and make sure that we are completely available. And then I think for ways to sort of continue to support Black folks and to continue to sort of talk about these issues is the ways in which, we're talking about right now, sharing your platform, talking about these matters, protesting, donating, reaching out to the people, the loved ones in your life, seeing how you can be there for them, asking questions, and never being afraid to grow. I actually had someone that I went to high school with today reach out to me and say like, hey, I'm actually really sorry for things that I said to you in high school. And I know that I said them, but I want you to know that I've changed. I'm not that person anymore. And I need you to know that I remember what I said and that I'm holding myself accountable for that. And so we also have to normalize that sort of growth and that sort of uncomfortability to change and to unlearn the biases that we all have, and then to carry those conversations to our friends and our loved ones so that they can change and they can grow too.
Absolutely. That's so powerful. And I love what you shared. And I think that growth is a really important part of any journey. And I think, especially when we're having these conversations, to kind of normalize changing your opinion when you're presented with new information, and understanding, I feel like your example that, it's okay to look back at an older version of yourself and to cringe at the things that you said, or, whatever it might be. But I think especially on this topic that it's a really important thing to do, to reflect and look back at how you treated others in the past, and figure out how moving forward you can change that as an individual, whether it be kind of from a racial stance or just from a human to human stance, just being more kinder, or being more kind and being more empathetic towards others. I think is always an area of growth for anyone. But speaking of areas of growth, so this is a little bit of a lighter question, but growth, like I said, an important part of any journey. And I think the most beautiful thing about the Miss America organization and Miss Virginia's Outstanding Teen, whether you have the title or not, that your journey throughout the organization will promote a lot of personal growth. It will teach you skills that you can tap into in any profession, any career, or any goals that you pursue in the future. I know my time with the organization is nowhere near finished, especially now with this extra year. And I have already tapped into so many of these skills that I feel I have learned from both having this platform and from the journey that is competing for the title. You learn so much, and every year you're working to become, I guess, a better version of yourself. And something that Savannah Lane said a couple of years ago, around when I first started competing, she said, a pageant is a deadline for your goals. And I think that that's a great way to put it. So I've always kind of kept that in my mind. So I'm curious about kind of your goals in the way that Miss Virginia's Outstanding Teen in this experience, both competing and as a title holder, have shaped those goals, and what kinds of lessons or things you learned from your experience with the organization.
Gosh, so you're making me think of two things. The first is, one of my favorite quotes is, "What's for you will not pass you." And that has been a lesson that has served me so well throughout my years, because I think it's so easy to get focused on the things that don't happen, the wins that don't occur, that you can miss out on the blessings that sort of come after them. And so when I think about my journey, and when I think about all the things that I said to you earlier of what I've done in this time, a lot of that has been a lot of little quirks along the way that people don't see, a lot of small disappointment. I remember, I think I've spoken about this before, but I remember my last year competing in Miss Virginia. I had this conflict of like, yes, I really want to win Miss Virginia. I really want this. I have a game plan. I know what I want to do. But it was also, I had found out right before the pageant that I was accepted into GW to go to obtain my doctorate. And I had this feeling that once I started my doctorate, I wasn't going to stop. And so currently with Miss Virginia, being that you have to take the year off, I sort of had this feeling of like, if this doesn't happen for me this year, it probably just won't happen, because I know I'm going to move to DC. I was already in the area, so like not really move, but like I knew that I was going to start my doctorate, and I knew that I wasn't going to want to stop. And I think I looked at it very like in a closed-minded way. But sort of the way that things sort of transpired after it showed that there is more than one way to sort of accomplish your dreams and accomplish your goals. And it led me to competing for Miss DC, to be able to juggle both. And I'm so thankful for that, for the growth that I've been able to accomplish within the Miss DC organization as well, because it is very much so like what Savannah was talking about with like, if it doesn't work in the real world, it's not going to cut it here. And I found a way to make both my academic and my career goals match, hand in hand with my pageant goals and my pageant aspirations. So that's one of the first things that I would say is, don't let any mishap get in your way or let you feel discouraged. But the other half I would just say is that the year taught me a lot about perseverance. I think you don't really realize everything that you've done, and you will realize this too. When you're in the moment, you don't see it. But then when you're like years removed from it, and you actually think about what you did as Miss Virginia's Outstanding Teen and the amount of things that you put up with, it's pretty incredible to realize, like, at umpteen age that you were able to do all of this. And I've been thinking about that a lot recently, because I do see my peers and I do see them as like, how are you able to juggle all of this, and how are you able to balance this? And it's because of the years that I've had in pageantry. It's because of my year of Miss Virginia's Outstanding Teen, where I was in high school and governor school, and then would have to make appearances. When you're dealing with people bullying you, not only in the pageant world, but hey, maybe you have people in school that aren't that nice either, then you have to go and put on a smile in front of the rest of the world and really encourage the next generation after you. And that's a skill set that I don't think people realize will really serve you well in later in life, because it never truly leaves. You're always going to be left dealing with something. And Miss Virginia's Outstanding Teen is sort of the breeding ground. And lastly, I would say, I really think if it were not for the organization and for granting me that scholarship to go to Hollins University, I just truly would not be the woman that I am today. Hollins really served me really, really well. And the friendships that I was able to make at Hollins, the way that they challenged me, I really have to thank Virginia's Outstanding Teen for that, because I honestly would not have known about Hollins if it weren't for the organization, and what a world of difference it made.
Absolutely. That's awesome. No, I love your story. And I think that it's an awesome just kind of picture of like how the organization can help shape you and guide your future. And I think especially the scholarship aspect can lead you in directions that you might not have expected. And to your point, it could potentially, be to focus on those academics and to kind of take bold steps into your future. And so I think that's awesome. And so I also want to talk, of course, about Miss America's Outstanding Teen, because you did so well there, placing in the top 10 and winning the Teens in Action Award and coming back later as an outstanding alumni. I think that's just amazing and such an accomplishment. And so just a testament to your talent and your poise. I think it's incredible. But, everyone always wants to know what was your experience at MVOT like? I feel like I'm always asked that question. So of course I have to ask you, but I was just wondering if there were any special memories or moments from the experience. Like you said, 2012 doesn't feel like that long ago, but thinking back with how much life we've all experienced since then. But if there's anything that sticks out to you, I'd love to hear about it.
Oh gosh, MVOT was so much fun. I remember, so Caitlin Brunel, who's a former Miss Virginia's Outstanding Teen and former Miss America's Outstanding Teen, her mom, as you know, like after MAOT, you're exhausted. You're just completely wiped. Like you just like ready to go. And so I remember seeing Caitlin's mom, Miss Stacy, after the pageant. She was like, you may not be able to like realize it now, but years from now, you're going to like love that you ever did this. And I completely agree. It was the most fun that I've had. You meet so many amazing young women, and you're the only group of girls that is truly going to understand what that year was like, what that time was like, what that experience is like. And to stay in touch with them while we all go through college, get married, have babies, like it's so exciting to see us sort of stay together on this journey called life. Fun memories, though, I just think it's just all the mayhem that you get in, the fun group of girls that you meet, and the little quirks that happen along the way. But I truly love my time at MVOT, and so much fun.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. And I think, to your point, such a shared experience that, it's hard to explain to anybody else. I think it's so cool to have that kind of sisterhood in that way. And, I've talked to some of the other girls just about just the kindness and the openness of some of the girls, like to know someone in every state. It's just, it's so cool to know people from all over that kind of have similar goals, even if it's not in the same career path or in the same kind of direction, still have the goals to be the best versions of themselves and to constantly be improving and constantly trying to learn more and do more. And I think that it's just really an empowering group to be a part of. I think that the sisterhood, whether it's through MAOT or through the Miss America organization or whatever state organization might be involved with, wherever it is, it's definitely a very empowering experience and uplifting experience, and something that I'm very fortunate for as well. But if there's anything else that you'd like to add, I love what you've shared, and I really appreciate your time. But if there's anything else that you'd like to say or share before we wrap things up.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would also say is just the sky's the limit when you have this platform, even without the platform. But I would say definitely within having the platform, I was really fortunate my year as Miss Virginia's Outstanding Teen to meet President Barack Obama and sing the anthem for him, and then also perform the national anthem at Miss America, which were two really neat things to do. At I think I was 16, at 16 years old.
Wow.
It's like so it's just crazy to now be 24 and to think about the things that I've been able to accomplish. And I think a lot of that is, a testament to what we're able to do as Miss Virginia's Outstanding Teen, and sort of the fire that's sort of placed under us and within us to do our best in these roles. And I'm truly so proud of you. I can't express that enough. You have seen how much you've grown in this organization, and like literally watching you grow up. I'm really glad that you're representing us for 2 years in a row, especially during this time. I couldn't think of anybody better to do it. And so really proud of you, really honored to share this space with you, and thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. It means the world to me. But I appreciate your time. I know you have so much going on, but I appreciate it. I think that any level of connectivity that we can have, especially as I know a lot of people are really missing these Miss Virginia and MVOT events that people really look forward to. I know I certainly look forward to every year, and so the summers felt really different without them. So having the chance to chat and catch up as we would have at Miss Virginia most likely this past year, it's so just as special, and just as almost as wonderful as it would have been in person. The next best thing. But anyway, I really appreciate it, and wishing you all the best with everything coming up and this transition back into maybe more normal-ish life.
Yeah, the next couple of weeks are wild. So the part that I didn't mention is in August I will get my second master's degree, but before I obtain that, I actually have to take the comps within my program. So July 15th through the 17th, everybody can keep me in their thoughts and prayers.
Oh,
I'm
man.
taking a 10-hour exam, testing my overall knowledge of psychology. So we'll see.
Well, you're going to kill it. I know it, and we're all rooting for you. You're doing amazing things. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud to know you, and I really appreciate you. So I've enjoyed catching up, and I guess we'll kind of wrap things